All right, welcome back. We are going to be talking leadership now. Like I said at the start of the show, 2023 is already around the corner. Election posters seem to be everywhere already in major cities like Lagos and Abuja. And yes, we're going to be talking leadership as a tool for national development. And we're joined now from our Abuja studios by a leadership coach, an expert, Linus Okorie. Thanks a lot for joining us, sir. Very first question, very quickly. Like I said, 2023 is already approaching fast. But for a lot of people, there seems to be, people feel like it's the same names we're hearing again, you know, after so many cycles of elections. Why does it seem to be a scarcity, for want of a better word, of leaders in this part of the world?
Generally, truth of the matter is that because of the way things are not working, the electionary system is not working, you know, institutions not working. So a lot of very great and outstanding people think that if you don't have, you know, resources to waste, you know, so if the vote can't count, why would they spend money to go to elections? So that's why a lot of people do not even bother. And that's why it looks like you're always having the same faces. And even when you think of, you know, the quality people who will make a difference, they might not necessarily have the type of resources, the type of money required, you know, to run the elections. And because people do not even believe that, you know, they can galvanize support for somebody with great vision that can make a difference, we've not come to that belief system yet that that is possible. So once you're running for office, you must have the money required to run for office. And a lot of people do not want to waste their resources.
So you've talked about money there quite a bit now, and of course it is a huge factor in an election season here, especially like a country like Nigeria. And that's what probably bothers young people the most. Yes, security is a huge problem. But before you even start the race, you know, before talking about going into the field to campaign and be afraid of insecurity or whatever it is, you need funds. And, you know, the sort of figures we hear sometimes about, you know, what it takes to win even a local government election, you know, is quite scary for the average young Nigerian. But the political parties keep saying, oh, young people should get involved. How do you make that work, you know, as a young Nigerian?
Interestingly, I mean, you know, I was inspired 2019 and I went to run for governor in Imo. You know, I came with so much energy, so much vision, and I really wanted to make a big difference, you know, for the state, precisely. But my experience literally, you know, was quite interesting that a lot of, you know, the young people that we wanted to, you know, come in to rescue were not even, you know, interested. Everybody was thinking about what will come to them. So that belief system, you know, has to change, you know, in the first place. You know, number two, you know, the people have this feeling that you must be in the big political parties for you to be able to, you know, win elections, you know, as the case may be. So those of us who ran with smaller parties, even though we had better programs, you know, there were a lot of people who didn't really, you know, bother. Some of us, we broke the circles. We broke some of those belief systems. But at the end of the day, you know, the institutions responsible for conducting elections also, you know, became a disadvantage, you know, to causes like that, because a lot of our votes, we couldn't find a lot of our votes. You know, so until all of that is transformed, we will not be able to, you know, inspire quality people in their numbers to participate in the electoral process.
So how do we change that now? Because I know you've coached a lot of young people, a lot of people, regardless of age, you know, in your leadership seminars and all of that. But is one thing to have the qualities of a great leader, like you have said. But I mean, if the system, you know, which is what we always call it, it remains the same, where's the headway?
Okay, so for many years, you know, I have been in the business of grooming the next generation of leaders. I've invested so much resources, my team, since I was 19. This is my 27 years of, pushing the ideas for leadership development in our country, because everything rises and falls on leadership. And that is why specifically that we have decided to create a Gotney Leadership Center. The Gotney Leadership Center in Abuja specifically is now designed like any other leadership program you can find in Harvard or any other institution in the world that is doing well. So our idea is that for those who run corporations, institutions, those who run public sector organizations, those who run private sector organizations, that it is time that the leaders of these institutions will now begin to institute, leadership cultures within those, within the organizations. Call it, leadership competencies, that are necessary, from vision intelligence to emotional intelligence to executive intelligence to values intelligence. These are the type of intelligences that every individual that is working for corporations and organizations must imbibe in their lives, for instance. So once everybody begins to think leadership, even in corporate planning, in corporate performance, people are thinking leadership, it will have a huge impact in the performance of those individual companies as well as those public sector organizations we're talking about. And that is exactly why at the Gotney Leadership Center, we have just graduated, a set of very senior executives, CEOs and senior executive directors, in Abuja, who all came together for 7 days. And we had intensive leadership development course, advanced leadership program, so that if we're able to impact those who take decisions for organizations at private level and public level, then they will go back to the organizations and reinvent those organizations, re-impact those organizations and turn it around. And that is exactly why we are now setting another of that program in Lagos at the Marriott Hotel from the 6th of December to the 12th of December. The graduation ceremony is on the 12th, where we are opening that system for very senior executives of private companies, senior executives of public sector companies, senior executive of medium, companies. All what we are saying is that it is time whereby leaders of these institutions, their executive directors, their directors will, assemble for 7 days with faculty, both local faculty and international faculty of sound minds. 7 days of intensive learning where emotional intelligence will be learned to the next level, transformational leadership, decision-making, and negotiations, powerful leadership competencies that if these business owners, if these business leaders, if these public sector leaders, if these political leaders as well, if they can sit in and, learn, humble themselves, spend time and learn for 7 days, and they graduate on the 12th of December, the impact that will have in their personal lives will be transforming, so that by the time they get into 2022, they are first of all reinventing themselves, reorganizing themselves, and then they reorganize their companies and organizations, and then they become true custodians of leadership culture, cultures of values, cultures of vision, cultures of timeliness, respect for time, cultures of rethinking process. All of those necessary cultures of integrity in organizational growth, all of that. By the time they put all of that together, they can now be ready, to begin to, and this will rub on society in itself, because our companies will make more profits, and then at the end of the day, they would utilize some of those profits to employ more people, in their system, and at the end of the day, Nigeria will be better for it. My thinking is that a lot of people who occupy public positions are not investing in their leadership decisions. Most of them are deficit of leadership capital. And if they are deficit in leadership capital, then there'll be a lot of waste going on in public sector. There'll be a lot of waste going on in private sector. And that impacts on our country in ways unimaginable. So this is why the Advanced Leadership Program taking place at the Marriott Hotel in Lagos for 7 days is a must for any CEO or any executive or senior director who wants to make a big difference.
Thank you very much, Linus Okorie. You always make my job very easy by just, putting all the facts out there. And of course, I'm sure the viewers have noted all the dates and venues. And please be a part of the leadership conference coming up in Lagos. And thank you very much for joining us, and all the best with the week ahead. All right, like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. The hashtag to use is Rubbing Minds when you send us a message. And now, before I go, just want to wish my wife a very happy birthday today, Cynthia Onyeka Chukwu Obianodo. Love you, babe. I'll see you next time.